Ooh, I see lots of attendees, lots of families tuning in. We are just about ready to get started. I hope everyone got their kits. Kind of like those boxes you see on the screen there next to me. We'll give about 30 more seconds or so to see if any more families are going to be joining us. I'm going to start without anybody. And this activity from 6:30 to 7 is for the grade 4, 5, and 6 at Lundy Elementary School. And Joshua, if you're there. You can tune in.
I'm here.
There he is. All right, I want to make sure we have enough time for your activity. So we have a good number of attendees. So I think we'll go ahead, pardon me, go ahead and get started. And anybody who joins, we can do our best to catch them up to speed. So welcome everyone. This is our virtual Family STEM Night brought to you by Connected Lane County. My name is Justin. That's the organization I work with, and we're partnering with lots of other educators around the community from our STEM Beyond Schools group. With me tonight is Joshua. He works with Partners for Sustainable Schools, and he's going to be guiding tonight's activity for the grades 4, 5, and 6 from Lundy Elementary. And I will say that since this is a webinar, we can't communicate verbally with the attendees, as you probably figuring out pretty quickly. But if you do have questions, just put it in the chat, and we'll do our best to communicate that way. That seems to be the easiest, even though it's a little bit longer form, but it seems to be working okay. So without further ado, Joshua, I'm going to pass it off to you, buddy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Justin. And before I share my screen, I just wanted to thank you all for being here to learn something new and to learn about ourselves as well. So that's an important part of education, something that I really love about learning things. So I'm going to share my screen here. And as you know, we're talking STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And thanks to our hosts, Connected Lane County and Lane STEM. Justin is a representative from there. Again, my name is Joshua Frankel. I'm with an organization, a nonprofit organization called Partners for Sustainable Schools. And so just so you as youth and adults know, we provide in-class lessons to fourth and fifth graders. We also have a high school leadership program called Our Future, and we provide support to teachers because we love the teachers. Teachers in your schools, pretty amazing people. We also, the Oregon Green Schools program provides at-home and at-school certification pathways. And there's projects and events that help your school become greener and greener. And now that so much of that's happening at home, there's also those at-home certification pathways. More information is available at that website you see below, ogslanecounty.org. So why do we see a picture of a tree and nature here? Well, if you're like me, you like to be out in nature and really believe in exploring the trees and all the living things that we have in our environment, in the world, and around us. Just wanted to mention, what's the connection between STEM and the environment? Because we do a lot of education to talk about the environment and our Earth and how to protect it. Well, as you see in the bottom middle of your screen here. The natural world or environment is the plants and animals and other living things and the places they live, often called ecosystems, also called environments. Well, off to the left, you can see that the S from STEM, science, is the study, is in large part the study of our natural world. And so it's a lot of observations and experiments. And a lot of those can be fun, like one of the observations we're going to do today. Engineering is designing and building ways to protect the natural world. Is that E in STEM? And the T in STEM is technology. There are devices and other inventions that help protect our natural world. Just an example is solar panels. It's an alternative way to bring the sun's energy and create power for our homes, for vehicles, for all sorts of things. That's science, engineering, and technology coming together for the good of our natural world. So our organization is a nonprofit that works to do these things. What is a nonprofit, you might ask? Does that mean that we don't make any money? Well, it means a lot of things, but what's really important is to understand that we're people who want to help people in the environment, in the community. So we want to teach you all, and we're not focused on making a profit. We do have paid employees. We do use money to run our organization, but we're completely focused on providing good things to you. And examples are St. Vincent de Paul, Bring Recycling, all the churches in your community, United Way, and all these others having to do with helping people and helping the environment, the natural world. One of the nonprofits that we just absolutely love is Next Step. Now, they're a nonprofit that recycles used electronics. Justin, could we get I'd like to ask all the 4th and 5th graders, can you think of some electronics in your home that you use? And Justin, can you, if you type those in the chat, Justin can tell me a few of what those things are.
Absolutely. Let's see how fast those come in. Any electronics you see around the house? TVs, L&M. Phones, L&M says. Laptops, well, L&M is a quick typer. Quentin says iPads. Isaiah, tablets. Kyla, my laptop. Yep.
Fantastic.
PS4, we got lights. More laptops, phones. Yeah.
Wonderful list. Yeah, there's a lot. There's certainly a lot. And certainly electronics are allowing us to have this meeting right here. The computer that's recording me, even my earbud here that's capturing my voice. Anything that has a plug or anything that takes batteries is an electronic. And now, Next Step, we'll talk about this more, but Next Step will take those things if they're broken or if you're done with them, and they'll find ways of making sure they don't end up hurting or harming our environment. There's a variety of ways they do that. So as you'll see, when we have our fun project with this in this box over here, you have boxes in front of you. You'll see some plastics and some metals. And so this is just letting you know what Next Step does with those. It's a very interesting process that Next Step will take those plastics and they will pay someone to make sure that gets recycled. And the metals, they're actually worth a lot of money. So they can take them to Pacific Recycling or to Schneider Steel, that's local places, where those metals get recycled, and thousands of things, very, very likely. Some of the things that you look around your house and see made of metal was something else in the past. So that was recycled in some way. Now, why would we take these used things over to Next Step? And by the way, at the very, very end, I'm going to give you an address on how to take things there if you need to. But it's actually illegal to put TVs, computers, printers, and monitors in the trash. So it's a very good thing to refurbish, reuse, and recycle, and that's what Next Step does. Now, can some of your fourth and fifth graders in the chat type in there, why do you think there's a law to make it illegal to put these things in the garbage can? Justin, do we have anybody typing in?
We got one reminder, sixth graders too. TJ writes trash fires, danger of trash fires.
Okay.
Yeah. Jerry says, protecting the environment. Alan M, electronics have hazardous chemicals.
Very
And
good.
one more student says, because they are reusable, which is a good answer,
Fantastic.
yeah.
So this is a great list. So we have fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is a great list. So absolutely. So there's a law there, not because they just want to have a law there. It's because it's not so good for our earth, for our environment. So Next Step makes sure that those materials are taken apart, and that's what we're going to start the process of in a minute. And they get sent up to a place, to a city called Clackamas, in farther north in Oregon. And there's a company there, Universal Recycling Technology, and they're doing things right and trying to make sure that there aren't those trash fires and aren't the all that waste and those chemicals going into our environment. So let's see here. Here's some of those things that they take: cables, printers, telephones, laptops, monitors, televisions, and desktop computers, and audio-visual equipment. So if I just go back here, if you look at that, it says 1.5 million pounds just in 1 year. That's a lot of stuff. So pretty exciting. Justin, I don't see the time on my screen. Do you have the time?
6:42.
Thank you very much. So great. Here's a big list of things that they take, that they actually pull out of electronics. And the ones in bold are the ones that you're going to see when we open the box and start working on our equipment.
Wow, that's a whole lot of stuff.
Lots of stuff. Circuit boards, ribbon wire, sheet aluminum, ferrous metals. That means they have iron in them. So there's all sorts of different types of metals. All right, we're gonna watch a short video, and then we'll be starting on our project. So actually, you know what? Yeah, let me get the sound going, optimize the video clip. Okay, we got 2-minute video here, and then I'll get some of my things ready while we're watching this. Okay, here we go. Is that showing on your screen, Justin?
Yep, you're good.
Cool.
In homes everywhere, there are piles of electronics. Piles whose content are made up of minerals mined from all over the globe. Working conditions in the mines can be dangerous, and in many parts of the world are sources of violence. Conflicts occur in places like the Congo to establish control over the mines and the trade of the minerals. Some of the most valuable minerals found in all cell phones are tongue twisters like tin, tantalum, tungsten, and especially gold. Electronic devices are manufactured all over the world and in many countries where human rights standards are low. The workers are exposed to hazardous materials that can lead to health complications. The production plants themselves cause environmental concern because of their polluting practices that carry harmful chemicals downstream to contaminate ecosystems and upwards into the atmosphere. After production, electronics are shipped around the world to stores where we buy them, and they become part of our daily lives. Every year, bigger and better versions are created, and we become bored with the old ones. So we leave them in drawers, closets, and garages. Or, if we simply throw them in the trash, they eventually reach the landfill, where even a very small amount of toxic material is enough to contaminate an area's soil and water supply. Recycling of bottles, cans, and paper is easy, but electronics are hard to recycle properly. So that's how piles get started. Piles of old computers, cell phones, cameras, GPS units, and even old gaming systems like that Xbox or DS you no longer use. I have a pile, and you and your family probably do too. Well, we've told you about all the problems, but there's a solution.
Next step, recycling.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching that video. And so we're actually going to do what Next Step does. We're actually going to start the process because we're going to get over to these boxes and pull stuff apart and have some fun. So let's see here. I will, Justin, if you want to switch over to the box, we'll get started there. Okay, now safety is very important with this process. And so we have got our box here, and inside is gloves and some safety glasses. And whoever's working with this stuff, it's really important to be wearing gloves. So, so I would like to start with the adults. So any adult supervisors right there, I'd like you to, actually, you know what? Hold on just 1 second. Let's close our boxes again. Let's actually have the students open this box, okay? So 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, why don't you look what's going on? You're gonna open this box. There's a flap on the bottom. You're gonna open that up, and you're gonna see inside. What this is called an optical drive. And I'm going to pull this out, and we'll look at the front for a second here. Light-wise, it's not so great, but we've got this optical drive, and I'm gonna push the box to the back, and we're just gonna put it there because we need to put our gloves on very first thing. So one adult helper and every student that's there, 4th and 5th grade, please put on your gloves. And for students, these gloves might be a little on the loose side. That's just kind of what happens with one-size-fits-all gloves. But your gloves should look just like this on your hands, okay? We never open up things like this without gloves on. Okay, students, these safety glasses are made for you. So you will open from one side, and you're gonna put these guys on, okay? And make sure that these are on before we get started here. And these are really important for you to wear. So there's one, and if there's more than one student, put this on, and then, you know, whatever adult supervisor is there with you, please, you know, make sure whoever's the closest to the drive at any moment is wearing these. So, you know, just manage that switch off so that everybody is really safe. So again, there's 2 pairs of gloves, one for adult helper and one for the student who's doing the work. In the box as well is a screwdriver. And there's lots of different sizes of screwdrivers. This one in particular is made for opening cases like this, or if you, okay, students, please flip this over. There are 4 screws. Some drives might have a 5th screw, but almost every single one has 4. You're going to be opening those screws. Now, if you have trouble, if you just can't turn that, oh, it's so hard, please let an adult helper make the first 2 turns. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that'll make sure that all these 4 screws are easy and accessible for students to turn. Okay, maybe you as a student can actually do that yourself. But once you've done that, then students, please remove 1 screw at a time. Just keep turning that screwdriver until that first screw is out. You can use your other hand to grab that screw and put it in the box. Everything goes in the box. Second screw, take out that and put it in the box. Justin, is everything looking okay?
Yeah, we're fine so far. I think
Great,
everyone's
thank you.
busy. Everyone's busy with the screwdrivers. I think hands are all busy.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're getting all 4 screws off here. And this is what volunteers and staff do at Next Step Recycling. Is open things like this. All right,
Just like this.
now. What was that, Justin?
I was saying, yeah, it's just like this. I mean, screwdrivers and opening them up carefully and slowly. I'm sure they're wearing protective gloves too when they do this.
Exactly. So I'm taking off the cover here, and I'm going to put that upside down just next to the box. And it could also go in the box if you'd like. Actually, let's do that. Okay. And then you'll see there's this green board. Some might be blue, but this is called a circuit board. And this has a lot of different parts and pieces. And afterwards, I have a slide that talks about these guys. But this is on top of a lot of different components that are underneath. So, so we're going to be removing this, this circuit board so we can see underneath. Okay, that's part of exploration. So a lot of different, I'll use this as a pointer, but right here I see a little black clip. That is actually holding this whole thing on here. So I'm going to grab an edge, and just so you know, some of your CD drives look a little different than mine, but that's okay. They all have basically the same thing going on. So you've taken off the case. I'm pushing this clip over just a little. You can either use your finger or the screwdriver. And look at that. This whole circuit board just came right off real easy, but it's got these little things connected. Anyone, any 4th, 5th, or 6th grader know what these cables are called? They have a special name.
Let's see.
Anybody? They're actually called ribbon cables. So I'm going to pull off this ribbon cable, and I'm going to pull off that ribbon cable. They usually come straight off. And that allows me, oh, you probably have one also on the bottom side. So then you just look down in there and I pull that other one off. So I got my first circuit board off, and I'm going to put that in the box. Okay. Now when I look inside, I can see some moving parts. We've got this thing that goes back and forth. And that actually reads a CD. Oh, by the way, if for those of you who don't know, what an optical drive does is that you put a CD in the tray and it reads different information that a computer can use. Sometimes it has music and sometimes it has documents. There's a lot of different things that can be on a CD. So that information is read by a little lens that's on the other side of this. So let's try and look at the lens on the other side. And that's going to take a few steps here. So we're going to use the screwdriver. Oh, there's a little white thing here that we push off to the side. And I'm going to do that one more time and you saw that this popped out. So I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to push this all the way up. And this opened like this. Okay. Well, I'm surprised at how little time we have. So just so you know, if we get cut off at all, that we will be, that everything needs to go get back in the box at the end of this and taken back to the school in the box. Justin, do you know if going over 5 minutes is a possibility?
It's fine for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So if you look down in here, there's some gears. That's what runs this tray from going in and out. I'm gonna flip this over, and because I pressed in these different latches on the side, the face cover came off. And since the face cover came off, it allows me to turn this upside down and pull that cover off. Now we can see that special part I was talking about, which is the lens. So this actually reflects lights and reads the information that's on one of those round CD or DVDs. And it's a pretty special little device. So all of these parts and all of these plastic parts, all of these metal parts, and a lot of the electronic parts are what Next Step takes and actually recycles, which is a pretty special thing. And so if you look in there, look in your device, you can see some pretty cool things in there. Things moving. You got some gears over here that allow that tray to go in and out. And right over here, there's actually a band. It's a rubber belt. Can someone in the chat please type in, where does rubber come from? Actually comes from two sources, but you can put one of those sources in the chat.
That's a good question. And actually, we have one student who says we're going a little bit fast, so we'll slow down a little bit while we answer this question. Oh, and I see G Green, trees. And actually a few students answered that. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Cherie
That is
and G
so
Green
right.
and Alan M, a rubber tree. Very specific. Yeah, trees. 3 answers of trees.
Fantastic. So that is absolutely correct. So, and this is a fantastic example of science, technology, engineering, is that originally all rubber came from trees and from rubber trees. But humans have found a way to actually recreate what what was able to make through the rubber tree, and is able to actually make that in a laboratory or a factory. So, so this is pretty cool little device, a lot of different tiny little components, and everything in here is really small. That allows the computer, the whole computer itself, because this is part of a larger computer, to be as small and compact as possible. The original computers were size of a whole room, but they've used all of these different ways of technology to make everything so much smaller, so much more compact, and so much more efficient and effective. So pretty awesome.
Now, Joshua, if some students haven't quite gotten to the same stage as you, dismantling both sides, that's okay, right? Because they can hang on to these kits and explore on their own a little bit more, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool.
So just make sure anytime you use these, use a brand new set of gloves. So your family might need to find you some new gloves. Best thing to do is just keep these gloves on, after this presentation, do what you're going to do with this, and then put it all back together. And they go together pretty easily, of just sliding everything back together, putting that case back on in the right direction, and let's see if we'll go smoothly and quickly here. Did I go the right direction? It should go like this. And then once it's all back together, the other parts need to go in first. Once it's all back together, it goes back in the box, everything back in the box. You close that up completely. And you'll be taking that back to your school. Once we have all the boxes, we're going to take that all to Next Step Recycling. So if we can get back to the main screen.
Sure.
Thank you.
Joshua, would that be correct then? So that piece of technology, that would be one of those items that's illegal to put in the trash, isn't it?
That is, yes, exactly. Any computer components, all of that, it's really important that it doesn't go in the trash. So yeah, so there's all those different parts that we saw. There's little parts that store and move energy. As we talked about, rubber comes from those rubber trees. And plastic, where does that come from? It comes from oil that we remove from the ground. And then also there's metal. And metal comes from what we call a mine, which is a big pit in the ground. There's a picture of one. And it's not so great for our environment. That's why recycling these metals is super important. So I hope you all recognize the importance of that. And like the video said, bottles and cans and all those things are easy to recycle. And these parts are very difficult to recycle properly. Here's an example of one of those cases that we just took apart, used as, when we call it creative reuse. So someone made a little magnetic board out of one of those parts from the device. Pretty awesome. So that's another way of keeping things out of the landfill or the garbage and reusing them. So here, like I said, I was going to tell you how to use Next Step. Donations can be taken to 245 Jackson Street in Eugene. And that's their phone number. And all those things you see on the screen are things they take. Anything that has a plug or takes batteries. Pretty amazing stuff. I want to thank you all for having me. And oh, one more thing is that not only does Next Step have the donations location, you can call them up, ask them where their store is, because by appointment now, you can purchase things that they have refurbished and made into new things. A broken laptop made into a working laptop, a broken monitor made into a working one. So all of those things, pretty exciting. Justin, do we want to allow for a couple questions?
Absolutely, yeah. If anybody has any questions, I know we're going over a little bit, but if there's anybody here that has a few questions they wanted to ask, we can. Quentin asked, do we have to take it back? Well, you have two choices. You can either bring it back to your school, and then Joshua will come and pick them up to be, again, taken to Next Step to be recycled, or you would have to take it as a Next Step or someplace that can recycle it properly. Because remember, this is one of those things that you can't put in the trash. So I hope that answers your question, Quentin, but it doesn't have to be right away. So one question here, please. Okay, so we have a volunteer to take these items to Next Step. But again, I think that would be the first step would be bring it to back to Lundy Elementary School. Yeah, return your boxes with all the components in it, all the pieces in it, back to the elementary school, where then it looks like Miss Burkhart, who's so kind, would maybe take a batch back to Next Step. But I think, Joshua, you were also planning to go pick up as well?
Yes, well, we'll be in contact with the school.
Okay.
And if everyone's taking their stuff back to Next Step, then, and someone has volunteered to go there with all the boxes, that's fine. But we'll be, that should be managed by someone at the school.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, make sure that your gloves, that after you use your gloves to get everything back in the box, because we don't want any of those components just out sitting on a table or for anyone to touch. They've all got to be back in the box within about 5 or 10 or 15 minutes of the end of this talk. And then make sure that when you take your gloves off, put them in the garbage. You just pull them off at the base of the glove and up like that. See, all the nasty stuff is on the inside now. And make sure you go wash your hands after these are in the garbage. Just very, very important to be safe around these type of materials.
We had one more question about the glasses and so the gloves go in the garbage, the glasses and the screwdriver.
Glasses and screwdriver, great question. Those are yours. Keep them, use them, make an art project out of them. Those are yours to keep, and present from us to you.
All right, new tools. How fun. Nothing better
Fantastic.
than new tools.
Great. Thank you all. And please, there's an email on your box if you have any questions. I would be happy to help you with any questions that you have.
All right. Well, Joshua, thank you. That was so much fun. I'm so glad I got to see what was in that box. And I only wish that we could have seen the students themselves on screen doing their, taking apart their drives. But this is next best thing. So thank you so much for your time and effort putting this activity together. And to everybody else, I'm going to put one last thing in the chat. It's a feedback survey. It's 3 questions long. It takes you 1 minute, but it helps us, better identify how we can make these programs even better. And we'd sure appreciate your feedback. So with that, we're a little bit over time, but thanks for all the attendees and all the partners who participated tonight. But that's all for our family STEM night. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next time. Okay. Good night.
Thank you all.